Well, let's talk now to David Dunn, who's a professor of international politics at the University of Birmingham. Welcome back to the programme, Professor. Good to see you. So we were hearing there about some of the measures that President Trump has already brought in to tackle immigration and meet that campaign promise, if you like, of closing America's borders. How important is it, do you think, that he was seen to do that? And what effect will those measures have, do you think?
Well, I think Trump is very keen to be seen to be acting very quickly and very decisively. And there's a theatrical, performative aspect to what he's doing here. Actually, in the last year, the number of border crossings has been very small. There really is no national emergency like he has declared. This is about being seen to deliver for his voters on an issue that they're most concerned about. So it's partly performative, as I say. In terms of actually the effect it'll have, it'll be fairly limited. The same can be said of the actions that we'll likely see with the effort to deport undocumented migrants. There will be much publicised swooping down on people who have been in violation of the law and who are illegally in the United States, and they will be deported. But I think it's unlikely we'll come anywhere near the millions of people that he promised to deport as part of the campaign. So there's a degree to which Trump's words and actions aren't always matched, but there is, I think, a determination to be seen to be doing something as part of what he's done as he's come into office.
And he also announced that America would withdraw from the WHO, from the Paris Climate Agreement. What could the absence of the United States from these organisations mean?
Well, symbolically, I think that it's pretty important that they are absent from these organisations. The US is the biggest funder of the WHO, and of course the US as the biggest polluter, both contemporaneously and historically, it's important that they're part of the solution, and the climate process in Paris is part of that. But the bigger concern there is what else accompanies that withdrawal from the Paris Agreement. He plans to have the unfettered exploration of oil, gas and coal, the reversal of every one of Biden's green initiatives, and probably the dismantling of the Environmental Protection Agency and all the sub-agencies that actually monitor America's climate monitoring. So he'll do vast damage to America's ability to track and to police its climate policies, as well as having a free-for-all on those things. And if America doesn't take climate seriously, given they're the richest country in the world and the biggest polluter, it's difficult for them to ask or to expect other countries to do the same. Although the rest of the world, hopefully, will try to shame America into coming back to its climate obligations. But America is already behind its COP targets as a consequence of the first Trump administration, and this second administration is likely to do more damage to the actuality of climate damaging policies and the efforts to try and curb them.
So these really are just a couple of the things that were decided on in a flurry of executive orders being signed. What does this say about how Donald Trump plans to conduct this term in office?
He's an old man in a hurry, I think, is what it tells us. The pace, the speed, the number of executive orders and the range of those executive orders shows that he has really had a team of people prepared for office. And he enters office with a sense of momentum and confidence that he didn't have 8 years ago. And what he has is a clear set of plans to act on his instincts and his prejudices and his promises to the electorate on a whole range of subjects. So we can see and expect a fairly radical, disruptive set of policies across the issue agenda, from foreign policy breaking norms there. For example, his inaugural speech didn't mention the word allies once. He only talked about them obliquely to criticise them. In trade policy, we can expect a disruption from the last 80 years of free trade and a move towards a protectionist policy, which is likely to be disruptive and inflationary and anti-growth in terms of the impact on the global scene. In terms of actually what he does to relations with Russia and Iran, it's really an open question, but of great concern here in Europe as to what he does in terms of both the specifics of the Ukraine war and the implications of his tepid support for NATO. And of course, there are other concerns about what he plans for the Panama Canal, for Greenland, or indeed for Canada. The mention of manifest destiny in the inauguration speech is a 19th century reference to an imperial striding for America. It's odd to see that in a 21st century speech by an American president. And of course, domestically in a whole wide of other fronts, he plans to get rid of the Department of Education, to gut the powers of the FBI, and possibly to use the FBI to go after political opponents. So this is a very different American president to the one that we've seen in our lifetimes, and the agenda is expansive and disruptive, and it will be interesting to watch.